our house really is the domestic church, and how we do create sacred spaces, and how we can recreate sacred spaces. And I talked about the liturgical year and the different things you can do around your home in relation to the liturgical year, and really bring that into your home. So I think it was pretty good. We're having our friend Colleen Rayner actually this weekend here, which is your blue box. She's a motivational speaker for the Catholic Church. All families will come. It's going to be interactive. It's held after, we try to do everything connected to Mass. So we have it's starting at 7. There is a 5:30 Mass. So these families will come to Mass, and then they will be here from 7 until 8:30. Our church holds about 600 people, and so I repeat myself twice. So Colleen's going to come twice. She's going to be here on Saturday and on Sunday. Saturday evening, we assign these, and Saturday evening would be people that had older children, and Sunday morning is people that have younger children because of the time. People are able to switch around if they so choose, and that's fine with us. They just have to let us know. Our third gathering will be presented by me in our gym. Our gym holds about 300-ish people, and I'm going to describe, you're going to see pictures coming forward about that, so not to worry. Last year when we did Know Our Gifts, Share Our Gifts, our fourth gathering choice was your right-hand column that says 4, and we're asking families to do 2 things that are already offered here at St. Peter's. I really try to integrate what we are doing here with our families. Obviously, they're part of our parish. I will tell you that I believe having a family program, people really do feel like they're more invested here. They're not just driving by and dropping off their children. They are, rightly or wrongly, they really do feel like they're, I think, more part of the parish than they had prior, in my opinion. In addition, I think that the kids feel like they are vested in here more, if that makes any sense. And Father Mike always says, we're here to create positive Catholic memories. And I think we, do that. So I'm gonna move on. Grades 1 through 6, you can either be a Mary or a Joseph. Basically, the dates just kind of alternate, and they come about 12 times during the year. If you see on the bottom of this piece of paper or screen, it says they must complete a family corporal work of mercy, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit. But we have a link on our website where families can go and choose a corporal work of mercy. There's a reflection sheet that they have to use. They read the scripture separating the sheep from the goats, and what Jesus told us to do. And then after that, they do their corporal work of mercy, and then they have to reflect upon it as a family, and they hand in a sheet. And we've done that for maybe the last 4 years, and it has been a very fruitful activity. We partner with a whole bunch of different organizations, including Eva's Village, including, we have a senior center here. I'm actually right now in our gathering space because my parish center is being used by Family Promise. We're hosting families here for the week, and I'm not able to use our parish center for that reason. Our older kids are invited to a summer program for 2 weeks, or our Monday evenings, our 7th and 8th graders come for 2 hours from December until March. In addition, these people are all family in our family gift gatherings. And as I said, I do offer a traditional program, 23 weeks a year, and we use the curriculum Alive in Christ. Okay, so this is a gift gathering I held quite a while ago. The title of it was called Formed in Eucharist and Sent in Mission. And basically when I'm showing you this, can you guys all see it? I'm just showing you our space that we use. I think it's really important to make sure that you're utilizing whatever God has given you as far as space goes. So we have a gym, we have 32 tables. You can see the table is numbered here, and you can also see that they have soup cans. I asked this, before this gathering, I asked the families to go shopping with their children and buy 1 can of soup. And they were not to know why they were buying it, and they were to bring it to the gift gathering, and that's what you're seeing here. And also, I just want to point out, we have these lovely big walls in the back there, and you can also see we have stairs. We have 2 sets of stairs that go down into our gym. And I've used every creative way, space, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. These people are playing a game. It's concentration. And when they flip over the cards, on the other side of the cards are things related to church, the tabernacle, the cross, the Roman Missal, etc. And once they got, concentration, they got the 2 pairs, they had to say what the thing was and what it was used for. And if they did not know what it was used for, we gave them like a cheat sheet. So if they didn't know what the Roman Missal was, we wrote it out for them, and they would have to talk about it with their children and teach them about it. So it's just a creative way of doing that. Again, this is another picture of our gym, just so you can see. So these people, after we did that activity, we did an activity headbands, and every person had a word on their head, and the other people had to give them clues of what the word was. And again, all of these words we had written out with definitions if they didn't know. You can see the joy on these people's faces. The woman in front of you is a woman named Joanne Struble. I did not know her when this picture was taken in 2012. Right now, she is a catechist for me, and she's been a team leader for us, so in confirmation. So you can just see the journey of the family. Again, these are a brother and a sister. I thought it was a cute picture seeing everybody with the headbands on. So this is me a long time ago, and this is my coworker, Patty Omberg, who has actually retired. But the reason why I'm showing you this picture is because we're pretty organized. We make sure that all of the families are seated at a table, and the table has a number, okay? So you don't just come to the gym and sit with your friends. You come to the gym and you sit with different people. Sometimes I put it, by grade, sometimes I don't, sometimes I specifically don't. Sometimes I put the kids that are younger up front, sometimes I put them in the back. And it's really a way, I think, of creating community. So I know that there are people out there that have, become friends because they've come to a gift gathering and sat at a table together. I usually will have like an icebreaker-y type, question, nothing too crazy, nothing, I'm not gonna ask them to recite the Nicene Creed. I just wanted to also say here that originally when we started this, we had them catered. We had every gift gathering catered. It was after Mass and people were going to be hungry. About 3 years into our journey, through Sign Up Genius, I was able to create, or Patty actually was her idea, where people would bring food. So if it's a 5:30 gathering, you might be asked to bring a half of a tray of ziti. We provide drinks and bread and salad. Actually, no, the families bring salad, and about a third of the families have to bring food. And there's a Sign Up Genius telling you exactly what to bring. And basically, we have helpers that come to our gym at 5 o'clock before the 5:30 Mass on a Saturday evening to collect the food. We have sternos that we make sure that we keep them hot. There's a volunteer down there while Mass is going on. And on Sunday morning, we have bagels and munchkins and coffee and juice, etc. And again, it's about a third of our families have to bring something. So this is the result of the can activity. So what I did was at the end, this was our closing prayer, and at the end I had confirmation candidates who always are helping us around our gatherings collect these cans, and they made a tower with them. And while they were making the tower, I talked about how the blessings of being in a community and being formed in Eucharist and sent in mission, and how through our Catholic Church, we can join together and we can really make a difference. If you're gonna have, if you're gonna just donate one can, it's gonna, maybe give you 2 meals, but look at all the meals together we can give to another person that is hungry, just like Jesus asked us to. We happen to have a food pantry here at St. Peter's, and all of these cans went to that food pantry. Our food pantry serves about 30 people weekly. 30 families weekly come to the food pantry. So we do an awful lot of work trying to support the food pantry and make sure it's, you know, viable. And I give tours of the food pantry. I talk about hunger and poverty and how can it be that within 5 miles of River Edge, New Jersey, there's a person that needs our food. And this is just another picture of the tower. Okay, so people were asking me for resources, and so I just want you to know there's so many resources just right underneath our fingertips. So I've used these. I believe I'm supposed to be speaking about Lent and Easter, preparing people for Easter. And on our USCCB website, there's fantastic videos, and I've used many of them during our gift gatherings. So that's a good place to go to look for ideas. I had, this is kind of a long story. I believe in America Magazine, I had seen an ad for a book written by a woman, Kerry Weber, and it was called Mercy in the City. And I was not feeling well. I actually had a little bit of an operation, and I had ordered the book. And I was then kind of like a little bit bedridden, and I had read the book. And while I was like St. Ignatius of Loyola, while I was lying, you know, in bed for 2 weeks, I came up with this idea that how can we journey through Lent with mercy as families? And so one of our gift gatherings, the minute I got up out of that bed, I was like, this is what we're doing. My operation was in February, and we did this in March. So our theme was journeying through Lent with mercy. Okay, and one of the first things I did was actually from this book, again, another resource right underneath our fingertips, from Bread for the World. They have a really good website as well. But one of the things they did, I happen to also have a stage in my gym, so I avail myself to the stage as much as I can. And I lined up 3 sets of chairs, 3 lines of chairs, and I had a recycling bin in front of them. So one of the sets of chairs was pretty close, one of the sets of chairs was behind that, and one of the sets of chairs was behind that. And I asked for 9 kids to come up to the stage. Of course, kids always love to do these activities, right? So they bound on up, and I gave each of them a balled up piece of paper. And I said to them, please aim for the recycling bin, right? So then the people in the front row had a really easy time doing it. Not so much for the second row. The third row didn't get it in at all. And I talked about the cycle of poverty and hunger, and how if you're from a first world country, you have a pretty easy time of remaining in, you know, health and prosperity and not being hungry, relatively speaking, and not so much for that second row, and certainly not for the third row. And so it was just like a way of saying, you know, I think almsgiving, which is a tenet of our Lenten journey, is really a powerful pillar. However, I really try to get people thinking about why people are hungry in the first place. Because if we can kind of get at that and try to think about ways we might be able to change that, I think that's a very valuable thing. So this is a really good resource. I think my slides might be out of order, but I asked you all to watch Ludmilla. And basically, at another point in time, I was in Tuesday morning, that store, and I came across this book, and it's called The Turquoise Table, and it's the one in the middle here. It was $8.99, and it sounded just really interesting to me, and so I decided, I'm gonna pick it up. And it was about just being consumed with your busy life and trying to create community in your world. And so as I was reading it, one of the first things that I came across was Ludmilla. They mentioned Ludmilla in it. She's from Prague, and she talks about being an ambassador of Christ and how she really opens up her home to do that. So as I read that, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Let me see, is there a Catholic table? And sure enough, there's a book, The Catholic Table. It's all about feasts and the different ways of celebrating with food, which, you know, we have to gather around a table 3 times a day. So can we do that through a Catholic lens was really kind of my thought. And so we did have a gift gathering based on the Catholic table. And I'm sorry that you can't see this because you can't see me, but one of the activities I did was kind of a silly one. And it was, I asked them all to bring a tissue box with them. And I took a piece of paper, and it was like the oblong way of the tissue box. And on the first box, they had to write what they were grateful for on the first part of the piece of paper, and then they cut it. And then there was a second part about what is your family resolution? What are you aiming to be as a family? And they had to fill that out and write maybe like a little prayer, like a little grace prayer. And then they had the two sides of the tissue box was about being present, how to be present to another instead of being distracted. And then the fourth one was to write a prayer. And so this is described, that's why I'm showing you this slide. So they were given a booklet. And so real simple, what was a recent memorable meal? What's your favorite food? What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten? So hopefully by answering those questions within the family and within the people around the table, they're now a little bit more comfortable with each other. The second activity was this eye basket. So they are the instructions. So these people were given a booklet, opened it up, and then they followed the instructions and they made this eye basket. And it's about being present to each other. And the idea is that inside the basket, you're gonna put this on your kitchen table or wherever you eat, and you're gonna put anything that's distracting you. So any of your iPads or iPods are gonna go right in here while you're eating so that you can be present to another person. And I got this idea right from that turquoise table book. And then we watched Ludmilla, that you guys hopefully watched. I love her. I actually went to Prague and tried to find her, but I was not able to. But I asked for them to think of their family as, and their home as an extension of Christ's kingdom. And so if you had a plaque on your door, what would it say? Would it say the Hanrahan family all are welcome? Christ lives here? How are people going to know that your home is a place where they can come and look for help if they're in trouble or if they have a need? And so they did this activity. It was just a quick little, maybe 15-minute activity. This is just the way sometimes we keep the families all together and sometimes we separate the kids out. And so when we separate the kids out, I have to make sure that I have catechists for all these different activities, and I have to have places, obviously, for all these different activities. So the reason why I wanted to show you this slide was because this particular gift gathering, which was separate from the Catholic table one, it was just called, I believe, Lent. We had the kids from grades 6 through 8 draw the Stations of the Cross. So in my school building, I have these lovely walls that are really nice and long, and I repeated it like on the bottom floor and on the main floor of our school building. And I had those big pieces of poster paper put on the walls for each station. And I had different pictures of the stations that the kids could look at to kind of get an idea of what to draw. And they had to sign their name. So the other kids did these other activities. And then I asked everybody to come down except for the kids that drew the stations. And those stairs that I was telling you about, we had the kids come down. We prayed the Stations of the Cross. I had one of our deacons pray the stations. And as he said, Station 1, the person would come and place their stations along those beautiful walls that we have down in our gym. So Station 1 went up, Station 2 went up, and I actually did it twice so that on both of those long walls of our gym, there were duplicate stations. I then played, it was our closing prayer, I played like instrumental music, and then I asked all the families to go around with their children and pray the Stations of the Cross. And at the bottom of each station, I had a reflective question. Who do you wipe someone's face for? Who is Veronica to you? Who helps you when you fall? And at the end of the station, I had a container that had sand in it, and I just asked them when they're done with their praying their stations, just in the sand, draw a cross and ask Jesus to help you, with a burden that you are carrying. So I said, tables 1 through 15, use the left-hand side of the wall of the walls, and 15 through 30, use the other side. What I wasn't thinking about was that, let's say Liam Hanrahan was to draw station 10 on one particular side of the gym, he might be at table 1, and I might have sent him to another station, right? So parents want to see what their kids did, right? What was happening was, which I thought was really beautiful, and I did not mean it to happen, no one was leaving because they were just going around in circles because they wanted to not only pray what I told them to pray, but they also wanted to see what their kid did. So it was kind of a very, very beautiful way of really praying the Stations of the Cross, and it really, it worked out just so spiritually and beautifully. And on that note, I just want to say, when I am planning a gathering, I'm always trying to think of not only the theme, but the mood I'm trying to set. So I might not be doing a headband activity during Lent, right? I might, be doing something a little bit more somber. We've done everything in our gym from, I had a flash mob once, singing, I have a really bad voice, but I'll sing it. Prepare ye, the Godspell version of Prepare ye the way of the Lord. And I had someone that I knew that was a really good singer come down those stairs in our gym singing Prepare ye. And then I had people planted at different tables that knew beforehand that they were gonna get up and follow her when she passed their table. And so we created like a flash mob that went to the front of our stage, of our gym, which is where the stage is. And on the stage, I had the confirmation candidates with signs that said, prepare ye the way of the Lord. So as we were singing it, they had to hold up their sign. It was a lot of fun. It was not hard to do. It set a kind of nice tone, kind of like, got everybody in a good mood to be there. Sometimes your icebreaker activity doesn't have to be, this crazy thing. We've also, just on that note, on our stage have done skits. So I did one during Advent about families trying to get ready for Christmas and how crazy it is, and the mom's trying to write all these, cards, and the husband ends up tangled in the Christmas lights. Just a little bit like laughing at ourselves. Like sometimes we get ourselves in these crazy things, right? I did another one called the chaos of preparation, and I had families trying to get ready for Mass and have wacky things happen. The dog chewed the shoe and someone couldn't find something and blah, blah, blah. And then I had them stop, and then I had the audience tell me what they could have done better to be able to get ready for Mass. Maybe they could have set out their clothes the night before. Maybe they could have, started the car earlier or whatever. And it was just, again, an opening activity that was simple, easy to do. In your families, you have people that want to do these things. In particular, when I'm thinking about that lady that was writing the Christmas cards, she's a professional actor. I have people that are on commercials. There's families out there that love this stuff. I remember once I did a gathering on being the stewards of God's green earth, and it was about different ways we could take care of the environment. And Girl Scout leaders out there are teaching recycling already. There was about 10 of them that gave me some great ideas, worked with me together. We ended up making a big water bottle out of water bottles that families use per month, and it was huge. It's crazy. So just know that within your population, you have people that like to do these things. We gave a concert last year about knowing your gifts and sharing your gifts, and there are grandparents in our community that are professional opera singers, and so they sang. So I just wanted to say that.
You got lots of people to help you.
I'm in the middle of something. Can I help you?
They left the key and
Sorry, everybody.
they left the key in this
It's the beauty of parish life.
I know.
It's all right. So just want to take a
The
minute
tabernacle?
yeah.
Okay.
to say if you have any
Okay.
questions or if
All
you
right.
think you
Thank you. I'll take care of it.
that
Our key was left in the tabernacle. I have to fix that when I'm done. So again, this is that Lent Stations of the Cross I referred to. And this is the question of the 14th station that I referred to. I'm sure my slides are a little bit out of order. We did one called Celebrating Families. You were laughing at me the other time, remember, about Pope Francis? And we did one about celebrating families, and I have a cardboard cutout of Pope Francis there. Families were, they could take a picture with him if they wanted to. What they're all holding this door hanger, and it was about prayer in your house and how to celebrate family life within your house. And I use these door holders. I always try to come up with something I refer to as a sacramental, something that can be brought from our gift gathering into your home to remind yourselves of what it's all about. So there's a whole idea of having an activity after they get home. And I would love it if I could get to that point. However, I haven't gotten there yet so much, but I do try to always have activities like what you're looking at. It's just a fun, and you could get a good picture of what I was talking about, our walls and everything. I think this might be it. Oh, no, a lot of times we'll bring in, a musician. People seem to love coming to a concert. It really does bring community. This is Valimar Jansen, and we had her here a few years ago. And if I were to have either her or Steve Angrisano or a famous musician, I ask our families to give us $10, and pretty much it will cover the cost of the national speaker. So this has been, we've had a lot of fun inviting people in, so I just wanted to mention that. And I think I'm finished. So I don't know if you want to open it up to questions or.
Yeah, it'd be great if we can hear your questions, your feedback. Eileen, if you could get out of the screen sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way we can, see you and invite you into the.
I don't know that you're going to ever see me because I don't know what's the matter with my thing again. But,
okay. All right, we'll wait until Eileen gets that.
I know. I can't click off, right?
How does she get out of screen share?
I think there's a menu that pops up on the bottom of the screen that says stop sharing screen, like stop it.
Oh, stop share. Here we go up here. There we go. Hi.
Hi.
You can't see me. Sorry.
Okay, so that's okay. So thank you, Eileen, for all of that information. It was excellent. And that PowerPoint is going to be available to all of you. So if there's something you feel you missed or want to look back on, we will make that PowerPoint available for you. We'll put it on our website so you can refer back to it. But Eileen, that was fantastic information, a lot of great resources that you shared with us. So what we're going to ask you to do at this point is if you have questions, if you can unmute yourself, and then that way we can hear you. And then respond to your question. So would anyone like to start with a question?
I do.
Georgette?
Yeah, hi. I missed the very beginning, so I don't know what GIFT means.
Oh, thank you for asking that.
I'm sorry.
Generations in Faith Together. And so if anybody wants to call me or talk about how I originally started this, I will be happy to do so. Originally, what we did was for you to get your form, you had to come to a meeting with myself and Father Mike to be able to get your registration form for the next year.
Oh,
So the first meeting, maybe 50 people came, and everybody was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'll just get my form. Well, then they came to realize that that was not going to happen. So we had meetings on Thursday evenings, on Saturday mornings, on Tuesday mornings, whatever time was good for you. We ended up having maybe like 6 meetings, and we explained the concept of Generations in Faith Together and why we believed it was a better way to get at faith formation for your family. So it was definitely a process that I had gone through. You have to have some thick skin. People were a little angry at times because I was, messing up their schedule. But we ended up all journeying together, and it ended up fine. So it's called Generations in Faith Together, and I kind of branded that name, and I think other people use it too.
Yeah. Thanks, Eileen.
Sure.
You are fantastic.
I need you to tell me that every morning when I'm looking in the mirror.
Yeah. But besides your regular program, you had this too.
Yeah, so on about 60 to 70% of our families do this family program. About
Okay.
30% of them do a traditional program on Monday afternoons from grades
Okay.
1 through 8.
I see.
Hi, Eileen. It's Gina Marie from St. Therese. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you? This is so much fun. I'm sorry you can't see me, but you guys are all awesome.
Hi, everybody else. I just had a quick question. Did you have any pushback with the traditional program of just having one option? That, Lois and I we're in the middle of trying to figure out what to do here, but our concern is that they're not going to have choice as
Okay.
far as the traditional programs.
So we did not, because we always offered Sundays and Mondays. And so
Okay.
we just changed the Sunday component of it. And if you really did not like this idea, you could still come on Mondays, if that makes sense. So if you're a 7th grader, you have a lot of options. You can come during the summer, you can come on Monday evenings, or you can come to our traditional program. If you're a 1st grader, you can come on Sunday mornings, or you can come on Monday afternoons. So I believe I'm offering you many options that you can choose from.
I agree. I agree.
And I didn't put it on this slideshow, but I put it on the one I did for Patty Rodriguez. There's a book called Spirit Linking Leadership by Donna Markham. And I believe at one point she was a nun or still is a nun. I'm not sure. She's really smart. And you should read that book, because it's about change and about how certain people are like, oh, they love change. Like, I happen to like change, I come to realize. There's certain people that resist change. There's certain people that are scared of change. And so they might scream at you and say, but I had this one girl, I told this story last time. We went here to St. Peter's together, and she screamed at me because I was taking away her babysitting, because her kids were coming on Monday afternoons. She was a single mom, and she, on Mondays, didn't have to worry about babysitting because I had them here at St. Peter's.
Yeah.
I was a little insulted. I don't think I'm just babysitting your children, but I understood, once I stopped and I took a step back, I understood I was frightening her. I was changing. I think we have to have really respect for the fact that we are interfering in people's lives. We're asking them to be here Sunday at 10:30. We're asking them to come to a gift gathering, on a Saturday evening. And I really think hard and long, and I pray every day to make sure I don't get in the way of the Holy Spirit, that I'm not an obstacle. This one gift gathering that I described about the liturgical year, there was a woman sitting in our population, and I know her. Her child had just made First Communion last year, so I kind of knew her a little bit better than some. And all of a sudden, I saw her get up and storm out. And I was like, what is going on? And so I followed her out, and she's staring at me, and she's smiling, and she's breathing really heavily. She was starting to get panic attacks. She's 32 years old, gorgeous, could be on a magazine. But she, for whatever reason, was having this issue of being in an enclosed space. And to this day, we still I text her, I make sure she's all right, I check in on her. And I will say that, from what we are doing here, I do minister better to our families. And I think that's important because they need it. I love our priests, but sometimes it's easier to talk to a woman than it is a man, if you're having a certain issue. And I think from our gift gatherings, that's definitely been a blessing. I don't know why I'm saying that right now, but that's my answer to the question. Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you, Eileen. And we also received some feedback that your 20 easy steps on your way, the document that you sent us,
Yes.
to integrate family catechesis into your faith formation program, was very helpful. So that was sent out, I believe, last night. So if you didn't get that, we'll also post that resource. We'll make it available, put it on our website. But the 20 easy steps to be on your way to integrate family catechesis into your faith formation program. So that's hopefully a big help to you as well. Would anyone else like to unmute themselves and ask a question?
Eileen, could you say something about the curriculum itself? You know, the more, I know you have a traditional option on Mondays, but you said that kids are invited to classes, that your pastor wanted the program to be blended. How do you address, you know, the curriculum and make sure that, you know, in this process, we're not just missing, leaving gaps, leaving, you know, spaces open in the curriculum, the overall curriculum.
Thank you for asking that question. The kids that come to classes will do not just one chapter during that time. They do at least two. They might do two in a season. So we do have a curriculum for them to follow. We do Alive in Christ. And then as far as the gatherings go, I do believe they are catechetical. I try not to just repeat myself and do the same ones over and over. For instance, when the Roman Missal was being introduced and everybody was kind of up in arms with, oh my goodness, the Mass is being changed, we had a gathering on the Roman Missal and on the changes and the words and the different, you know, and it was part of it was kind of funny. My opening activity, I videotaped the priests and they all were like pretending they were studying, but like Father Matt Dooley went skydiving instead. Father Mike was like cooking instead. It was kind of funny in a way. And I think it kind of brought down, and not only did we teach, it brought down people's kind of levels of afraidness. So if you look at the 20 easy steps, I listed every single gift gathering I've done. And like I know Kathy Hunt does it on the themes of the Alive in Christ book, but I would say that mine could fit into, for instance, if we're going to do one on, I can't think of something, the Catholic table, let's just say that could fit into morality, for instance. So they are, we do a lot of Bible lookups too during our gift gatherings, where we purchase Bibles for every sixth grader. And then I've purchased in my office about 30 Bibles. So we make sure that there's at least 2 or 3 Bibles on a table, and we do a lot of Bible lookups at our gatherings as well.
Do you find that when you're planning the family programs themselves, the gatherings, that you can be more responsive to, you know, what's in the news, for example?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Celebrating families I did when Pope Francis was visiting. We've done the Year in Faith when that was a theme of our church. I don't know specifically if I've ever taken something straight from the news and used it, but certainly I try to be relevant and I try to be meaningful. And I am very, very conscious of not to waste anybody's time. So what we do is I think relevant and meaningful and worthwhile. I hope I answered the question.
Great. Thank you, Eileen. That's so important to keep what we're doing with our families connected to on in the real world. So that's really great. We do have a question. They're asking for recommendations on how to encourage parents and guardians to assume their appropriate role as spiritual leaders of their families. So is there anything you do, Eileen, on your end to help parents really understand and take on that role as spiritual leaders of their families?
I think we kind of show them how to do that at gatherings and at different events, and you know, we lead them in prayer. We have activities that they can bring into their households. I had the opportunity to give them a little prayer missal for their families. It was called Pocket Prayers for Families. I got them off a website. They were $6. So I asked each family if they could give me $6. If they wanted one, they could purchase one. So I'm always trying to look for ways to take what we are doing and bring it into the household and make sure that they understand that they are their spiritual leader. So I've heard a lot of fruits from our gatherings, different things that people have brought home that have done differently. The one woman brought her that tissue box thing to when I did my liturgical year. So I did that tissue box activity probably like 3 years ago. It's still sitting on her kitchen table. And so I showed it when we did the liturgical year. So I really hope that we are modeling for them. You know, when we did Stations of the Cross, they went home with the whole Stations of the Cross booklet that they could use. So I'm always trying to make sure I'm modeling for them. And you know, the importance of going to Mass too, I think is, we try to integrate Mass in everything that we do. I won't say we're meeting at 6:30. I'll say we're going to 5:30 Mass and then afterwards we are doing, or we're going to 9:30 Mass and then afterwards. So I don't say our classes start at 10:30. Our classes start after 9:30 Mass is over.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Eileen. That's really helpful information. Do you know, Eileen, of any books or formation programs that you run into or recommended as far as helping families or parents be, you know, spiritual leaders of their families?
I could get back to you on that. I'll look through my library.
Yeah, and I can too. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because all of you, when you registered, had listed an area that you wanted focused on as far as family faith formation goes. And I know we're not going to be able to get to every single one of your areas that you listed, but I will be putting together a list of resources, digital resources, online articles, books, you know, links to programs that will be helpful in the areas that you're looking to grow in. So within a week, I'll have that up for you on our website, and I will let you guys know. I'll send you an email that will, you know, give you the document I'm putting together, and I'll also post it on our Adult and Family Faith Formation website, so you can have it there for future reference.
Joanne?
Yeah.
Also the John Roberto's, the book that we got at Families at the Center, you know, that has tons of things that we can use for families that families can also go into on their own.
Absolutely.
The video for every gospel, the, you know, parents' things to do.
Thank you, Sister Georgette. You're right. His book is great, and also his website. And again, we'll provide the link for his website is already on our Family and Adult Faith Formation website. But he's curated a bunch of different resources to help in the development of family faith formation. And again, we'll make all of that available to you for your future use. We have about 2 more minutes. If there's anyone who wants to, you know, ask another question, or, you know, we're always available to follow up with you. If anyone would like, you know, us to come to your parish for any kind of consultation work, we're happy to do that. We're here to serve you. And we're very grateful for the work you do in your parishes. With a minute left, does anyone have anything they want to add?
I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to you guys. I think this is a wonderful way to communicate with each other on these topics, it's been fantastic. If anybody has a specific question they'd like me to answer, my information was on that 20 Easy Steps. So you're more than welcome to email me or call me.
Excellent, Eileen. And we can't thank you enough for all the work you put into this presentation. It really was fantastic. Thank you again also for allowing us to make it available to anyone else who would like to view it at a later date, especially for those who couldn't join us today. So thank you, everyone. We're so grateful. Just know that we hold you close in our prayers, and we're here to support you in any way we can in your outreach to your families to bring them closer to Jesus. So thank you, and hope you have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Nigel.